Alright, we're going to do a few different videos on the Luis Peña versus Steven Peterson fight. Some really interesting exchanges, some great striking exchanges, some great grappling exchanges. We're going to have a look at this grappling exchange which happens early on in round one here. Happens a few times that Peña goes after the shoulder rotation, the Kimura style piece as a defense to, in particular, the single leg, but almost any time that Peterson's in on the wrestling move up against the cage and uses it to great effect. Basically holds on to that double wrist lock through the exchanges without letting it go and often ends up in a great position. So on this first exchange from here, early on in the fight, Peterson's putting pressure on and he manages to drive him up into the cage. From here, and as he's in on this position, Peña starts searching for an underhook, manages to get the underhook from here, and so Peterson just switches off to a single leg, goes with his head on the inside, starts going on one leg from there, and so they end up in a position a bit like this, where one ineffective underhook starts looking for the other one, but as he's looking for the other one from here, he manages to switch it up to wrist control. So he gets wrist control then on this side. This is perfect for what he wants, which is then reaching over this head, so Matt stays on that one leg for a minute, and Peña doesn't mind having that leg down the middle there because he wants exactly that to try and sweep or flip him over as he's going. So when he starts to get wrist control on this side and he's starting to just block on the head from here, just methodically setting up what he wants, which is to reach over now and get on that little shoulder rotation piece, that Kimura style piece from there, where he's got 2-on-1, he's got that double wrist lock on the far side. Now from here, plenty of ways that he might try and go after this work, but he deliberately keeps the leg in the middle to try and use it to flip and sweep and come on top. In the first little part of the exchange, it doesn't quite work out as he wants it. I don't know if he's going for a sweep here or he's going for a standard kick over, but he ends up getting a little twisted up and underneath, so it doesn't work out great for him. He actually gets almost completely inverted at that point and he's searching for the arm from the bottom, but then he just comes back up to their feet and he doesn't let that grip go. He comes back up onto the feet. Stevenson's still in, Peterson's still in on that leg from there, and so this leg ends up back between the legs, and this time he does get it in more of a typical kind of kick position, so he can kick and flip the person over as they drop down to the mat. So there's a bit of a wild exchange here. Comes away from the fence a little bit, gives him enough room to drop and kick the person over from there. So he does this little kick, not exactly like this, but this kind of action where you drop and kick that leg that's on the inside to try and rotate and flip this person over. Now as they scramble through, this is where it gets particularly interesting. Now Peterson does some brilliant work to bring his head back on the inside, bring his knee back on the inside, so I'm just going to let go of this grip for a second. So he manages to rotate, get his knee stuffed in on the inside of Peña from here, even though he's still got this 2-on-1 grip, and then he gets the other leg up on the head. So from here he starts coming up with this leg, Peña's arm gets caught in and he gets stuck deep in on an armbar from here. So then all of a sudden, from him having that 2-on-1 grip, just because Peterson manages to rotate that knee in, the situation flips. So without him getting this knee in, Peña's on top and through and able to do some work of his own and be in a pretty dominant position. But Peterson gets this little rotation on, brings his knee in, manages to block that, doesn't care that he's still on his arm. Real smart move, flips that leg up and over the head, and all of a sudden Peña's the one that's in trouble. He's on deep on an armbar. He starts having to stack up, looks pretty tight for a second, but he manages to stack him and drop him and pull himself out. Ultimately, Peña gets what he wants. He wins the exchange, if you like, because he's the person that ends up on top, gets himself out of the wrestling position, psychologically kind of wins that exchange. The judges will probably score it in his favour because he's the one that actually got the best of the scenario from there, and he goes back to it a few times. So really interesting work from Peña in terms of blocking the wrestling moves, and like I say, goes after it more than once in the fight. So the core concept here is, particularly if the person's on a single leg, in on this position, trying to get wrist control on the inside from here, and just manipulating your head around theirs a little bit, trying to make sure they can't take your back at the same point, but then effectively giving them your back once you decide you're going to commit to that double wrist lock from there. Leaving this leg on the inside so you can use it to flip the person over. And if we just spin that around a little bit, typically then what you're looking for is a drop to your back, kick over on this person so that you can end up in a dominant position and still hard in on the arm from there. Great work from both guys, really nice fight. We're going to show you a few more clips of it. If you check out UFCsecrets.com, you'll find more videos like this. Like I say, a few more coming up from this fight.